right now, so I'm gonna talk very fast because that probably will not last very long. But I am almost 2 months postpartum, and I am so excited about this season that I'm in right now because I'm just like rebuilding my health and really focusing on vibrancy. I think that's my word. I think it's very easy to feel haggard. Haggard is like the opposite of what I want to feel, and it's very easy to feel that postpartum. Deprived of sleep, always in sweats, covered in sweat, and spit up. I would like to feel vibrant instead. I made 2 children in 2 years. Like, there was not a month in between because I was nursing Nico when I found out I was pregnant again, and we just rolled right into the next thing, okay? So it's been a lot, fun, but a lot. Clayton and I know for sure that we will not be having more children. So it's really exciting to just like look ahead and be like, okay, wow, I want to rebuild my health for this like new future with my family. I feel like the conversation of postpartum really centers around like stretch marks and baby weight. Like, that's what I hear about the most, and wanting to lose the baby weight is very valid. I'm still not at my pre-baby weight, but I just don't really like that being the focus for me. It just doesn't feel very like inspiring or motivating. So instead, I like to put that to the side and think about like bigger goals of what do I want to feel, and then work backwards on the things that make me feel that way. So like I said, I want to feel vibrant. I want to feel like myself again, and I want to feel like energetic. I want to feel mobile, all these things, right? So feeling like myself again, I guess that could be like losing the baby weight and like getting back to my pre-weight, but that again doesn't feel super inspiring to me. I think there are a lot more things than just being able to fit into my jeans, although that would be nice because I don't really want to have to buy more clothes, and that is so annoying right now, being in that like in-between stage. Anyway, I could go on about that. But what I'm saying is, to feel like myself again, there are a lot of things that go into that. So I want to like get back into journaling. The other day I was like, I miss like watching black and white French films. Like, I used to sit in bed and watch those, and I'm gonna do that again. I want to hang out one-on-one with friends, not always with my kids on play dates. I want to be able to go to a Pilates class by myself in the morning and get a matcha latte after. So these are like all things that help me feel like more like myself again. And yes, some of that is feeling physically better. The physical stuff though, I also want to think long-term, not just aesthetically. So I don't want to end up 10 years down the road with like lower back pain, hip pain, all these things that can happen if you don't address them earlier on. So I started working proactively with a pelvic floor therapist. I filmed some of our recent session that I'm going to show in this vlog. She's amazing, Jenny Archer. She has a practice here in Nashville. I'm putting her info in the description because if you live in Nashville, you need to email her immediately. Honestly, whether you're pregnant or not, I feel like every woman should meet with a pelvic floor therapist because you learn so much about your body. That like group of muscles is connected, I swear, to everything, and it's just so eye-opening. I could talk about it for forever because I have learned so much by working with her. I started working with Jenny when I was pregnant with Nico, my first, proactively. I didn't have any symptoms. I just wanted to like prevent symptoms. And then I am so glad I've had that relationship because she helped me learn how to push properly. I had pretty good birth experiences that way. I didn't tear with my second. I've had her check me at 6 weeks postpartum to help make sure I'm recovering well. She checks for things like diastasis recti. I don't know if I'm saying that properly, but she's just been so helpful at making sure I heal well. And then when I was a couple weeks postpartum, this time around, I started having lower back pain, and she came over and helped me figure out what it was. And she found that my tailbone was like pretty far skewed one way, which, hello, you just pushed a baby out. Even if it's a good delivery, like, stuff moves. And she literally does like this body work to move things back into position. So she moved the tailbone back. All the muscles were like really tight from that moving. So she helped like release those, and then gave me at-home exercises I could do to help continue to relax those muscles and then build my glutes so that I was using those instead of my lower back. So it's this like amazing holistic approach to providing pain relief, but then also giving me the steps to like make everything strong so it doesn't happen again. Maybe this is TMI, but she also does like internal exams to make sure that everything's good after having a baby. Literally this time around, she moved my uterus. Like, I don't even know how that works, but she's like, oh yeah, your uterus is kind of like tweaked to one side. Let me get that. Didn't hurt at all. In general, like all of her body work, I think is like releasing fascia, which helps move things back into place. I'm not a professional, but that's my understanding of it. Magic. And having a physical therapist that is so freaking smart on your team when you're pregnant and postpartum is like the best gift you could give yourself. She also recommended the Pilates instructor that I've worked with one-on-one. I'm going to share more about that in this vlog. And I've also been working recently with an integrative physician to look more in depth at like my nutrient panels, hormones, gut health. So I'm going to share about all of that as we go on. I do want to share like a disclaimer or just like an understanding that all of these things are pretty expensive and hard to find. And I kind of hate that about having a baby in America. I feel like it's different in a lot of countries. No place is perfect, but it is expensive to have a baby in this country, and really in-depth postpartum care is not easily accessible. So first of all, absolutely recognize that this is a huge privilege to be able to work with people like this. And I also want to say that a couple things go into it. One, saving ahead for it. Like all of my money goes towards these things. I would rather work with a physical therapist than get my hair done, my nails done, buy a designer bag, anything. Like I will pay for these things over that any day. Saving ahead for it, Clayton and I purposely waited to have children until our careers were at a certain place because we knew we wanted to financially be in a place to be able to support having children in a way that was a little bit easier. I also am pretty strategic about what kind of, like how many appointments I have. I would have loved to see my pelvic floor therapist like every week of pregnancy. That was not financially affordable. So instead I thought, okay, what appointments are the most important? I did like intro just to see how things were while I was pregnant. I definitely wanted to push practice a couple weeks before delivering. And then I definitely wanted like a 6-week checkup to see how things were before I started working out again. So really prioritizing those. Oh, Remy's awake. I think Clayton has him, hold on. Same with like the one-on-one sessions with a Pilates instructor. Would I like to have a one-on-one session multiple times a week? Yes. Not realistic for me. So instead I thought, okay, I want to see her at least 2 or 3 times before I start going to like a less expensive group class so I can get the cues that I need so that when I go into these classes, I'm doing them really properly, because exercising postpartum can actually really backfire if you do it wrong. So if you don't know how to engage your abs, like your pelvic floor properly, you could actually like make your ab muscles protrude more, and then that like mom pooch will never go away because like your abs never came back together. So learning how to do these things properly and learning how to do it like very slow and intentionally is key, is what I've learned. So I'm like really easing back in, taking it very slow and doing like paying a lot of attention to form. And that's why I wanted to meet with an expert before I went into a class. Anyway, I could talk about this stuff forever. It's really fun for me. Like I love meeting with each of these people because I learn so much from them. Like I'm just asking them questions the entire time, and it always makes me want to go back to school. I'm like, I should become a pelvic floor therapist. Wait, I should go get my Pilates certification. Literally every single person I meet with, I'm like, wait, I want your job because you're so interesting and you're so smart. So I hope that all of that comes across in this vlog. I'm gonna share as we go. Maybe I'll do another video because I don't know how I'm gonna fit it all in. But if you have questions, start leaving them in the comments because I could talk about this for a long time, but you gotta direct me on what you wanna hear. Let's go into my pelvic floor therapy appointment first. I'm gonna show you some of that footage. I had one day between the last time I've seen you. Yeah. There was one day where it was just bad one day. I don't know what happened. I did like my exercise in the morning. I came down. I think I know what happened. We got a birthday party. Okay. And Clayton was putting down for a nap. I had Remy on me and the carrier. And I said, don't clean up, don't clean up. I had to. And I didn't lean over. I just kept like squatting down to like pick things up off the floor. And I just kept doing this movement over and over. And I think I just did too much. Yeah. And the next day, it was so bad. Okay. But then it went away. I haven't had it since. Okay. So I think I just overdid it.
Let me just check your pelvic alignment.
Like if I see a mess, I just have a really hard time not cleaning it up. How's the tailbone looking?
So the tailbone started off from the get straight. So that part is great. But the right side is stiff. Okay. As far as like sacrotuberous ligament, glutes, and then ischial tooth that's butt bone. Mm-hmm. So just trying to get that to like settle back down.
show you some clips from my first appointment with an integrative physician, Dr. Gabby Safdie. I'm so excited to work with her. It's like the best of both worlds because she is a certified MD. So if I have like a UTI, I can message her, she can call in a prescription for me. But she's also an integrative physician, which means she's really trained in this whole body approach to health. It's kind of hard to explain, but basically you spend a lot more time talking to them. So my first appointment was over an hour long and we went in depth. Like we were talking about my health history, we were talking about nutrition, exercise, even little things like stressors in my life, what my support system looks like, what help I have with like childcare, what my work schedule is like, because all of these different things really do affect your health. And it just is so nice to not feel rushed when talking to a doctor, and that she's asking these follow-up questions to really understand all the different facets that could be affecting how I feel now, and then things that if I don't address them now could lead to issues down the road. It's kind of like she's like an investigative journalist, but for my health, where she's really trying to understand all these little things that could be adding up. That feels very different than my experience with conventional doctors, where usually I feel really rushed and where it kind of feels like a band-aid, where you're like, oh, like you have acne, here, take birth control. Sometimes that's a great solution, but it's very helpful to have someone first dig a little bit deeper and be like, what could be causing these things? So that's where she's also highly educated in advanced diagnostic testing. So that's looking at a lot more biomarkers to understand the nuance of things in nutrition, gut health, hormones, instead of just a wide range. So like when I get a nutrient panel at a general physical, that range is so wide that it basically means like I'm not in crisis. And so a lot of times, or previously in my life, I've gone and gotten like a hormone test or nutrient panel with just like a general practitioner, and they're like, yeah, like you're in range. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're thriving though, you know? So I'm really excited to work with Dr. Gabby because we're gonna do some of that testing to really look at the nitty-gritty and understand what's happening, especially since I have been pregnant or breastfeeding for the past 3 years. So in this first appointment, we again talked about so many things. I'm just going to show like a little bit of that. And then I'm excited to continue documenting what happens after I do the testing. That's what's happening next. So some of it's going to be specialty testing that I'm going to order and have sent to my house. I can just take it here and then I'll send it in and the results get sent to my doctor. Or she can also send in labs to like a Quest Diagnostics nearby. I'll go in and get my blood taken, and then again, those test results will get sent to her. She's then gonna like dig into it, see what's going on, and then we'll meet again to talk about those results. And then she'll prescribe things like supplements, lifestyle modification, even exercise that can like affect my hormones, nutrition, of course, to help give me a game plan for feeling my best. I think my biggest symptoms right now are just feeling low energy, which could just be that I'm not sleeping as well at night because I have a newborn that I'm feeding in the middle of the night. But it also could have to do with nutrient deficiencies because, again, making humans with your own body depletes your own nutrient stores. And also she was explaining that if my gut health isn't great right now, I could be having issues absorbing nutrients. So even if I'm like eating all the things properly, if my body can't absorb it, then I'm also gonna have some issues there. And then hormones, I have no idea where those are at right now, especially because I'm still breastfeeding. So we can't check like all the hormones, but she does want to look at testosterone. Don't know if I'm saying that right. That's such a hard word to say. She said we can look at that via blood work, and I'm interested in that because if it is low, I could do more weightlifting, she was talking about, to help with that. That was interesting too. We talked some about exercise, and in general, I do love more like low impact workouts. My body just feels really happy in those. But she was encouraging me to add in at least like once or twice a week some weightlifting, even if it's just like minimal at home with like dumbbells, because of the importance for hormone health and then also for bone density and just aging well. And that's really where my head is at right now, is thinking about long-term goals and being really proactive. It's not as sexy thinking that way, but I'm really excited about it because I just want to be super mobile as I age. And I think that's really top of mind now, having 2 kids and just thinking about like what our life is going to look like. And I want to be like on a bike tour with them in Europe, you know, in my 60s. That's the vibe. Anyway, I'm gonna share a lot more about this as things go on because I'll be working with her throughout the year. The next thing up will be showing those test results and then what we learned from them.
So the way the first visit will work is I want to hear a little bit more about what you're currently dealing with. Then I want to really go back into your past, hear a little bit about things you've dealt with so far in your life and where you are in your own health journey. Next, we'll talk some about your nutrition and lifestyle, and then we'll come up with a plan in terms of where we want to go from here.
I do a lot of eggs in the morning. God bless my husband. He usually has breakfast when I wake up, and it's like sourdough bread and eggs. If he did not make me breakfast, like this morning, I love cereal. Like I freaking love cereal. So I'll get like a muesli or like a gluten-free Cheerios, and I usually put like a spoon of almond butter in it so it doesn't spike my blood sugar as much. And maybe a matcha if I have it in the fridge, or my husband will make me coffee. I don't drink a ton of coffee. Coffee definitely messes up my stomach. And I finally got to the point where I was like, why am I doing this? But I like want the caffeine. So if coffee's the only option, I will drink a little bit with like a little bit of almond milk again and monk fruit.
And you know, the way to boost testosterone and to build strength is by weightlifting.
Okay.
So what I've incorporated is to do something like Pilates reformer 1 or 2 times a week, to do Melissa Wood or something equivalent 1 to 2 times a week, but then to even just add 1 or 2 times a week where you're actually lifting like 5 to 10 pounds weights, you know, where you can really build, you know.
Yeah. It's such a good point because again, as I get older, I realize like I'm thinking more about working out as like how do I prevent like back pain, neck pain, help with bone density, which is just not where my brain was going in my 20s.
So I'm actually thinking maybe to try the specialty test because we would almost end up with more, you know, more values. And then the testosterone is the only one that might be a little bit hard to do that way, in which case I might actually send you to the lab just to do like, there's one celiac marker I would be curious to check for you.
Interesting. So I just got out of Pilates class. I had a one-on-one session with Lindsay, and it is such a treat. I have never had a one-on-one Pilates session before. This is my second one with her, and it just feels so freaking good. So I did ballet for like 10 years growing up, and we did some Pilates actually in our like studio to cross train. And I just love that kind of movement so much. But I've never worked with an instructor like that one-on-one, and especially postpartum, it is everything because I just believe that form is so important, especially in recovery, like work smarter, not harder. And even just the tiniest tweaks from an expert can prevent like serious injury or just like aches and pains, and can just be so much more effective. I was told about this Pilates instructor from my pelvic floor therapist, who I've been working with proactively since I was pregnant with my first baby. And she has also really like drilled into me the importance of working smarter, not harder. Because as I get older and as I go through things like recovering from having 2 babies, like carrying a toddler around, nursing, I'm just starting to realize like how quickly you can become one of those people who's just like, oh, like I have a bad back, or yeah, like I have a bad shoulder, and then you just kind of get used to it for the rest of your life. And that is a big fear of mine. Like I just don't want to be in pain like that. Like I just don't want to get used to those kinds of things, and I want to be really mobile and active as I age. So I am just so excited to find people like this, like Lindsay, like Jenny, my physical therapist, that are just such experts in their field and who can help me really know like how to carry my body. Even just like when I'm walking, like when I baby wear Remy, I'm thinking about like how I'm engaging my pelvic floor and like how I'm walking. And now after working with Lindsay, like when I go to like a group Pilates class, I'm thinking about all of her cues. I'm thinking about like the little blueberry underneath my lower back and like all these little things that you just like don't get in group classes because that's just not the space for it. And understand like my body specifically. Like I understand my weaknesses, my strengths, like what to be careful about, what to watch out for. I just like could not say enough good things about these people. And again, if you're in Nashville, they're here. I will put all these people's info in the description of this video. But if you're not in Nashville, I just hope that you can find people like this to support you. Again, it is such a luxury. It's such a privilege. I can't do all of it all the time. Like honestly, I wish I could have one-on-one Pilates sessions multiple times a week, every week, but I can't financially. So I'm really just being smart about doing it intentionally here and there to get as much knowledge as I can to then help empower me as I go into group classes. And then it just feels really good to know that if anything comes up, like if I start getting neck pain again or lower back pain again, that I have people I can turn to help support that. And I think that's also a really big thing is being like in being a parent is feeling like you have like that village kind of like those people to go to, like if I wake up with a bad back, like if something happens, knowing that I have this support system is just makes me feel really good.
So you just grab a space on the wall. I like to put it on either side of my spine. And there's really no part of your body that you can't tackle with it.